Hey there, it's Diane Banks, voice actress, radio personality in Chicago. Please subscribe if you haven't yet. You just click the little red button. Ask your friends to subscribe too if you would. That would be awesome. Thanks again for that. And don't forget to watch some of my videos you haven't seen yet. I have almost 170 now, including Disney Pixar 18 Easter eggs of A113 hidden in the movies. That's my most recent before now, to which we have some wonderful comments from you guys. Tommy Beats says, "Nice vid, Diane." Thank you. And also, Adrian Gonzalez was first on that video. Yay! And also on another one of my videos, this is about Disney movies becoming Broadway shows, Disney Geek 33 says, "I think Princess and the Frog, Hercules Fantasia, and Tangled should definitely go to Broadway." Those are awesome choices. Disney Geek 33 also says, "Oh, and Finding Nemo." And I said I would pay to see all of those. I think you guys would too. Awesome how they're all going to Broadway. So thanks for that. And like I said, please check out my other videos and subscribe. Let's get to today's topic. This is a great one. 9 things you didn't know about Fantasia. I've never done anything on Fantasia, so I thought this would be a fun one for us. From Oh My Disney, thanks to them for that. First off, Fantasia was the first and only film to feature Fantasound. That's what they called it. It's really the first stereophonic sound, which we take it for granted now, but that's pretty cool. 75 years ago, which is when Fantasia came out, they didn't have stereo sound in movies, and Walt was the first to work on this. He thought mono sound wasn't good enough for this, so that's a pretty cool thing. And did you know that? I knew that one, but a lot of these I didn't, so we'll see which ones you knew and which ones you didn't. Fantasia debuted as a road show. I didn't know that. That's pretty cool, I think. It was originally released as a theatrical road show, only screened in 13 U.S. cities because it wasn't ideal because they were using that Fantasound, and most of the places didn't have that. So they only had 13 places, so it was rolled out like a Broadway show. We were just talking about Broadway shows. And it had assigned seating, and you got programs and ushers trained to show you to your seat. So it was just like going to a Broadway show. Movies were a different thing back then. The Sorcerer in the Sorcerer's Apprentice sequence was inspired by Walt Disney. I didn't know this one. Did you? Through the silent film actor Nigel, I don't know how to say his last name, he was used as the live model. Let's take a look at him. So this was the guy they modeled it off of. And to me it's kind of funny. I don't know if you're familiar with Dark Shadows and Barnabas Collins. He kind of reminds me of him. But anyway, this was the silent actor that they modeled him after, and you can see some similarities there in the nose and the mouth, a little bit on the eyebrows. But I didn't know that Walt was a big inspiration for the character. Did you know that? They said the raised eyebrow is the most recognizable similarity between the two. So let's take a look. I made us a little photo comparison here of the two, and there is some similarity, don't you think? A little bit going on here in the eyebrows, definitely the nose. And the shape of the mouth too. But this is kind of funny. Humor me on this one. I think more than anybody, he looks to me like Abraham Lincoln. Tell me they didn't look at pictures of Abraham Lincoln when they were making this character. Because look at the eyebrows, especially the shape of the face. If you go along the contours of his face and his nose and a little bit in the mouth, I don't know. I just saw Abraham Lincoln there. Maybe they didn't use him. Maybe they just went with the silent film guy. But anyway, the other thing was his name, Yen Sid, is actually Disney spelled backwards. Did you know that one? That's a neat little trick from the movie. The musicians on screen are actually Disney staff. I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. I thought they were musicians that they hired. Turns out it was actually local Hollywood musicians in the Disney staff, like Jimmy McDonald, who was the voice of Mickey Mouse back in the day. You might remember seeing him in some places. He also did a lot of sound effects for the movies, and I think I spotted him somewhere in here. But it's tough because they're all kind of shrouded in this blue color. But if you ever get a chance to go back and watch, maybe you can look for some of these guys like Jimmy McDonald, and they mentioned some others here, Paul J. Smith, who was a composer of Pinocchio and Cinderella and some of the others. Ballerinas were used as live-action references to the film. That's pretty cool. They hired very famous ballerinas at the time, and then they studied their movements. Leopold Stokowski was involved with the project after having dinner with Walt. They just had dinner. They talked about the movie he said he would love to conduct, and And at the time, this guy was a huge conductor, so it was an honor to have him in the movie, and Walt couldn't pass it up. And we'll just kind of scoot back here so you can see. Now, in the movie, you don't really get to see much of him. He's in silhouette, but that's him hanging out with Mickey. Pretty cool. Like I said, he was a big famous guy at the time, so that was an interesting tidbit there. Mickey Mouse was redesigned by artist Fred Moore for the movie. I didn't know they redesigned Mickey, but they sure did, because most of his expressions are pantomime in the movie. They made Mickey's head rounder and larger, and they made his body more pear-shaped. They said it went better with the movements. Pretty cool. Then we move on to the fact that it took 2 years for Disney to restore the film for the 50th anniversary. Now, if you're old like me, you know that it came out in 1990, restored in 550 theaters. It was a big deal back then, and how beautiful the movie looked. And then to wrap up here, the animators were given free rein with color. That was a first for the company. Usually they were pretty picky about color, but when you look at these photos, you can see just how beautiful the color palette was, wasn't it? In Fantasia, and I love those primary colors they used, like for the silhouettes, the blues, and then the orange. When we looked at Stokowski here at the top, with the orange color there. So as we wrap up here, did you have a favorite from some of the things we talked about today? Were there things that you didn't know? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I guess for me it was the comparisons between Walt and the evil wizard there. Maybe Walt and maybe Abraham Lincoln. But anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments, or anything you want to talk about Disney or whatever, as you chat with me in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet. It's Diane Banks. Thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon.